How many times has your English teacher told you, know your verb tenses? I have, I had, I will have. Which one is it? Let's begin with asking our students about their thoughts when it comes to this popular verb tense. What do you find most difficult about the present perfect?
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Matt, and I always have trouble in order to use a present perfect tenses because sometimes I don't know how to use it correctly.
In my native language, we don't have present perfect, so to me it's difficult to know when I have to use it.
There are many different notions and uses with the present perfect, so sometimes it's quite difficult to make sure you use it properly.
Did any of those sound familiar? Do you share these common difficulties? Hey, it's Lindsay, and welcome to another fun episode of Byte Size English, your daily bite of English. In this episode, we're learning about the present perfect. You're going to learn the structure and the 3 uses of this very common and important tense. Visit our website, bytesizeenglish.com, for a fun and interactive quiz game from this episode. Let's start with the easy part first, the structure. Pause the video and check out these 3 examples. Which example uses the present perfect? Awesome! I have been to Italy uses the present perfect. Now let's take a look at the structure in more detail. Check out these sentences, take out a pen and paper, and see if you can figure it out. I have been to Italy. I have played chess for 15 years. I have had 3 cups of coffee this morning. If you wrote this down, you're correct. The structure for present perfect is subject plus have plus the past participle plus the complement. Remember, you can find the past participles on an English verb list, and some of these can be tricky and require practice and memorization, similar to irregular past tense verbs. So, what do we even use this verb tense for? Here are some examples of its first use. Let's see if you guys can guess through context. I have been to Brazil. Have you subscribed to BSE's YouTube channel? Let's think about this. Am I in Brazil now? No. I'm here teaching you on YouTube. Okay, so are you a BSE subscriber? I sure hope so. So when did these actions happen? That's right, in the past. But when in the past? Last year? Yesterday? You have no idea. You just know that these experiences were at some point in the past. Weird, right? Because this is a present tense. English is never easy. Our first use is to talk about finished past actions or experience when the specific time is unknown. You probably noticed the second example was a question. So remember, follow those basic grammar rules. When asking a question, you use question word order with the verb before the subject. On to the second use. Try and figure it out. Here's a hint. It's very different than the first use. I have taught on YouTube since November. BSE has been a channel for 5 months. Okay, so we have 2 important keywords, for and since. For expresses a length of time, and since expresses a starting point. When did these actions begin? You got it, in the past again. But am I still teaching on YouTube? Am I teaching right now? Yes. So the second use is to express actions that started in the past, continue to the present, and maybe in the future. These are continuous actions. Look at these sentences again. BSE has been a channel for 5 months. What happened to have? It changed to has. Why? Because BSE is third person, and you have to follow the subject agreement rules. And on to the third use of present perfect. Here's the chart. Pause the video and see if you know what it is. Here are a couple sample sentences. I have had 3 cups of coffee this morning. Dora has taught 15 BSE episodes on YouTube. Are these single actions? No. What about continuous? No. Each of these actions were finished in the past, but they happened more than one time. 3 copies, 15 episodes. These actions were repeated. Our final use is for repeated past actions that might happen again in the future. One final point. Listen to how I use the present perfect in speaking. I've had 3 coffees. You've subscribed to BSE's YouTube channel. He's been to Florida. I'm sure you heard the contraction, which is almost always used in speaking. So try and listen for it. That's all for today. Now that you've learned how to use the present perfect, don't forget there's an extra worksheet attached to this episode. Check it out and test your present perfect knowledge. Have you subscribed to our channel? If you don't want to miss an episode, subscribe. Please send us your questions and comments and check us out on Facebook and Instagram too. Thanks for watching. See you next time on BSE. Doesn't make any sense. How can I use the present to talk about the past in English? You're right. At first, it doesn't seem to make sense. But I promise there is logic, rules, and that's why you're here watching us on YouTube right now. As a language learner, you may be a little bit confused about when to use the present perfect or the simple past. After all, they both refer to events that already happened in the past. Let's investigate some verb tenses today. Hi, it's Lindsay here, and welcome to a new episode of Byte Size English, your daily bite of English.
Run, Forrest, run!
Today's episode is about understanding the differences between the simple past and the present perfect, when you should use them, and why. If you need a refresher on present perfect, or you need to learn it, go back and watch episode 26 to get you up to speed. Let's go. First, let's review. Look at these sentences. Pay attention to the tenses. Now, which of these sentences is correct? For this first example, you're right. It's A. What about these 2? Pause the video and think about it. This one was B. Before we get started, let's look at the structures. Yes! Simple past is subject plus the past verb. Present perfect is subject plus has or have plus the past participle. The structure is the first difference between the 2. The simple past uses 1 verb, while the present perfect uses 2 verbs. Take out a pen and paper and write down 3 countries you've been to. What tense did I use there? Right, present perfect. Now, when did you go to those countries? What tense was that? Yes, simple past. Write down your answers and be specific about the time. Look at my example. I have been to Turkey. Am I there now? No. So when? You have no idea. There's no specific time, and you just know that at some point in the past, I was there. So I'm going to tell you exactly. I went to Turkey in 2016. Did you catch the difference between the tenses? Both of these actions are finished in the past. But with the present perfect, there is no specific time, and with the simple past, there is a definite time. Yesterday, last week, last year, dates, months. Look for key time words to know which tense to use. Like this example. I ran a marathon last summer. Specific time. I have run a marathon. No time. If you're speaking about a specific time, the present perfect should not be used. I have seen 3 movies this week, and I saw 3 movies last week. What's the difference between this week and last week? I'll give you a hint. One is finished and the other is not. When we use this week, it implies that this week has not finished yet. This week, this month, this year, these are unfinished time periods. We use the present perfect when the time period has not finished, and use the simple past when the time period is finished. To add to this use, we can use both tenses with the word for. But again, there's a difference of finished and unfinished time periods. Take a look. He has lived in Toronto for 20 years. And now? Yes, he's still living in Toronto. Remember, we use the present perfect for actions that began in the past and continue to the present, maybe the future even. But what if I was to say he lived in Toronto for 20 years? And now? Right. When we use the simple past, it's finished, which means he doesn't live in Toronto now. That's over. And he lives somewhere else. And finally, we use the present perfect for finished past actions that have a connection or result in the present. For example, I've lost my keys, past, and now I can't get into my house. Use the simple past for a finished past action with no result or connection to the present. Like this. I lost my keys, so I got new ones yesterday. In this example, there's no connection to the present because I got new keys yesterday. That's all for this episode. Go back to the 3 countries you wrote down at the beginning of the episode. Write 1 sentence using present perfect and your specific time sentences using the simple past. Try and use the verbs travel, go, be, or visit for variety. If you haven't subscribed and you like us, please do. Facebook and Instagram are pretty fun too, so check those out. And, oh yeah, we have classes now. Venture over to our website for more info. See you next week on BSE. Verb tenses, and more verb tenses. They can be confusing and challenging, but there are only 12 in English, which is less than some other languages. And BSE is here to help you learn them all. Hi, it's Lindsay, and welcome to this episode on the present perfect progressive. Watch episodes 26 and 34 if you need review on the present perfect. Thank you for watching Byte Size English. Like and subscribe to not miss out. Let's learn. When learning grammar, there are 2 parts of importance. First, the structure or form, and second, the use of the grammar. As usual, we will start with the form. How do we make sentences in the present perfect progressive? Pause and look at my 3 examples. Subject plus have or has plus been plus verb ing. Did you get it? Fun fact, the progressive tenses all have verb ing in their structure. Remember, you can't use non-progressive or stative verbs with progressive tenses. Time to use a visual to help with understanding. I'll use my first example. Lindsay has been teaching for 11 years. When did that action begin? Correct. In the past, 2010. Is this action still happening? Absolutely. I'm teaching right now. The future? Maybe. No one knows the future. But I'll be here next week, don't worry. We use the tense for unfinished actions that started in the past and continue to the present. It focuses on the duration of the action, usually specific to a time frame. You will see the word for or since used frequently. You know that English can be confusing, so here we go. This tense can also be used for actions that have stopped in the very close past, but have a result in the present that we can see, feel, or hear. I'm so tired. I've been studying. I've been running, so I'm really hot. It's been raining, so it's wet outside. Here, we don't usually use time words. Here's a chart to help with understanding. That's all for today. Have you been watching us since the beginning? Comment below and let us know how long you've been following our episodes. Use the present perfect progressive in your comment. If you haven't been learning with BSE, subscribe. We have 2 episodes every week. Our social media has more content to improve your English, so follow us on Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn. Have a great week. See you soon on BSE.